formation. The other is sneezing in public now, and it used to be number 2 used to be farting in church, but now that's changed a little bit. So Guten Abend, meine Damen and Frauen and wait, what is it? Frauen and Herren. Yeah, the Germans rusty. 95, I think, was the last time I was overseas. Oh, we're still not there. Whoops. Getting ahead of myself. Now we're live. Okay. One more attempt, Steve. You're a Wisconsin guy. Was my accent decent?
It was okay.
All right.
I mean, it was.
Guten Abend, meine Herren and Damen or whatever. Welcome to Battle Buddies Live. Got a special guest. We kicked Pete out of here. He was adding too much value. So it's kind of like when you guys were in a really good relationship and you screwed it up. So we kicked him out of here so you value his presence a little bit more next time. So tonight we are going to continue our trek of bringing value to Battle Buddies. So I got a pretty cool thing to let you guys know we got cooking in the background. But first thing you need to do is click the invite button and not be a Blue Falcon. I didn't know what a Blue Falcon. Steve, do you know what a Blue Falcon is? You're like my era of vet. You're like a 90s guy, right?
Yeah, 96 to 2000. So yes.
Okay, yeah. So you're a little after me. Do you know what you're on the edge? Do you know what a Blue Falcon is? Don't say it if you know what it is.
Yes, I'm familiar.
So what's the first word?
It's buddy.
It's in Battle Buddies, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I had no idea what this was till like a year ago. I kept on getting called a Blue Falcon because they turned off comments and told people to respect the vet's privacy, reach out to him because the dude needed support for his divorce. And it's like, guys, there's just a certain place where, airing out a little bit of laundry when it's a little damp, that's fine. But, when that shit's dripping, just, run it through that spin cycle a little bit more before you throw it out back. And I've got a ratio too. You're not really a vet unless you've been divorced one time per enlistment. So I haven't seen too many retirees that have claimed that one. There's been a couple that were pretty close, which is interesting. But, if you need emotional support, that's why we turn the comments off. We're not trying to be mean or jerks. We just want you guys to work in the back end with people and be cool with one another and supportive. And I tell you what, so today, here's what was great. Got another one of these, I'm going through a divorce thing or something like that last night. And I'm like, hey, comments are going off. Contact so-and-so behind the scenes. And you know what? That vet posted a thing this morning thanking us for all of the reaching out that happened behind the scenes. So we don't want to put certain stuff in public display. And that's one of those things. Because our core here is to help you guys find better employment and how to get there and all this other stuff. And we understand that there's a human aspect that needs to be taken care of if you want to break down into Maslow's hierarchy of needs, physiological needs, and all this other stuff. Yeah, we can have that conversation, not tonight. But divorce is one of those things. So you got to get that shit out of the way before you can keep on moving. So anyways, I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves, even though you may have been here several times before, maybe too many times like me and Sue. But if you could take a second to kind of let us know who you are. I'm guessing, Janie, you're Steve's +1 here on this deal, right? He looped you in. Okay. Sarah, we will go ladies first. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I suppose since Zach's not here, I'll take the ladies first role. So it's Sarah Farstead. Been on a couple times, 11 years Army, 4 of them active duty. Served with Sue in the reserves for a few years before transitioning out. Currently an operations manager for Worth Electronics in South Dakota.
Sue, you're
Everybody knows me. Everybody knows me.
No, they haven't drank a beer with you, so they don't technically know you.
All right. So I'm Sue. Yes, I have been a part of Battle Buddies since the beginning. I served with Sarah for a few years. One of my most memorable AT ATs that I've ever had. I'm a 26-year Army vet of the reserves, and just for the record, Chuck, 26 years and no divorces. So I guess I must be a record or something.
You're not really a vet, Sue.
I think my husband and my children would probably argue that fact, but that's all right. So welcome tonight, everybody.
Okay, Janie, you're on mute. Do you mind introducing yourself?
So I guess I'm up. I'm Janine, and I am Steve's +1 for the night. He and I both work together at Mission, Wisconsin. I am a military spouse. My husband is still active. We are here in Wisconsin, beautiful Wisconsin, down in Fort McCoy, where he is a chief warrant officer with the Army. So, all right, Steve, you're next, I guess.
You're next, Steve.
So Steve Yonke, I am the CEO and founder of Mission Wisconsin and Marine Corps from 96 to 2000. If my camera happens to go dark, it has no reflection on the Marine Corps. It's just the environmentally friendly lights that they have in my office. So I'll be flailing wildly like at swim qual back in 96.
Do you guys do that still in the Marine Corps? Is that if you get stuck
Yeah,
on a
well,
ship?
Marines
or
have
what?
to swim. It's part of their thing. Like we're the men's department. We're the men's department
Really?
of the Navy.
That's what you guys
Steve
say.
does that in the
I don't
snowbanks.
know.
Haven't you seen him? Go to Green Bay every once in a while. He's out there in front of our office.
Hey, and Chuck, if they didn't have Marines on ships, who would the sailors dance with?
I
Right.
totally agree.
Like,
Totally. Yeah, we get some pretty good inter-rivalry stuff between the Marine Corps and the Navy. And, you know, the one thing that I learned as the Army guy is never mess with the chief. I even knew that on active duty. Or, I mean, the FMF guy, you know, your medic or whatever you guys call corpsman.
Corpsman, the S is silent. Yeah.
Yeah. And Sue was upset with me when I mentioned this one, is that most of those guys would have a tough time deciding between their corpsman and their spouse if it boiled down to it at the bar of who to protect. So that says something about that person as far as how they regard them. So one of the things that I advocate all the time on Battle Buddies, I had something really cool happen like a week and a half ago or so. I was doing some trolling for vets on LinkedIn Recruiter in the background, because right now I need 40, probably a better way to put it. I need 40 people to work on a project that I got here in St. Paul, Minnesota. It's really cool. We're doing this smart grid up into the cloud thing, into AWS and Azure. We're doing a bunch of the stuff in the background. So being I need that many people, I decided to use LinkedIn as a tool to help network, right? So I wasn't directly contacting any of the vets that I found. I made my search real simple. I wanted an IT background, and I wanted to have someone that had some programming languages. One of them is Springboard. It's kind of this funky one, right? So I started throwing the nets out there, and I happened to find a whole bunch of vets. And I had a guy tell me that I should post my needs on Battle Buddies USA, which was the greatest response that I've ever received on LinkedIn in my entire life. And I've been on there for probably 15 or at least 15 years, at least 15. And the LinkedIn does work. Not for everybody. Now, Sue, watch the chat for the haters that are gonna come at me and tell me I'm stupid. I know nothing about cryptocurrencies. I know nothing about the stock market. Not like I have a Series 7 and 6 and stuff like this. So I'm just a moron. Okay, so I'm just gonna qualify my incompetency for you guys. Not everybody needs to be on LinkedIn. So if you're an artist, chances are you don't need LinkedIn, okay? Because if I want to find the next Monet, I'm not going to go on LinkedIn and see what your technical competencies are in brush strokes and all this other shit. It's just not going to go there. Let's see. So that would include watercolors. This artwork I got up on my walls. Photographers, probably not going to go to LinkedIn. Steve, feel free to throw in and jump on my bandwagon here of roles that you're probably not going to look for. If you're in the construction trades, marginal. If you're in the management, you should be on there. But if you're an operator and you're cool just being an excavator fella, like my buddy Chris, cool. If you're a over-the-road trucker, like I got a bunch of buds that are truckers, probably not going to find you on LinkedIn. That's understandable because they tend to be more into the professional trades. And computer science is a trade. I don't care what anybody says. You know, we're at the point now in IT where your certificates and the languages that you have for a background are more critical than having a 4-year degree. The 4-year degree is not going to hurt you, but it's not a barrier anymore like it was even 3 years ago. So gloves are off in IT now, which kind of brings me into another thing that I had happen. So another vet that responded to me, Air Force guy, so he's one of the smart guys, right? That's where the Air Force guys are, the smart fellas. He had kind of a funky background. He got out of the Air Force, went and worked for a big dirty company like I did when I was at Accenture, and realized that the big ugly monster wasn't right for him. So I gave him, you know, a little bit of my time and kind of coached him through, you know, what does this career path look like for you? So when you're taking a step back in your career and kind of examining what's going on, this is a game of chess, not checkers. So if you're just looking at this next move and that's it, you're going to continue to impale yourself over and over and over on all of your career moves. You want to be taking a look at things down the road. And I'll give you an idea for these IT roles that we're looking for. So I never search for college degree ever. That's just me. I'm not hiring for a big fancy company that requires it. They don't care where I'm looking to place people. And I'm looking at scripting languages that you've known. I'm looking for the amount of time that you've spent in the industry. And I want to hear when I talk to you, some of the cool projects that you've worked on. You know, if you're at the cutting edge of, like, let's say that I'm going to bring up cryptocurrencies. Okay. I'm just going to throw that out there to keep you guys kind of engaged here. If you were working at Coinbase 5 years ago and you were doing some of the back end work to design, you know, procurement or storage or offline storage, cold storage, any of this stuff, I'm really interested in talking to you. Okay. If you're still doing that 14 years later, I'm not as interested anymore. If you can show constant career progression and you're learning, you're showing that you've got some flexibility to learn new trades, new languages, new things like that, you're a very, very good candidate because that shows that you're adaptive. And that kind of speaks to the veteran mantra of adaptability. So we'll get into the recruiter thing here. I've got 4 other people I've taken up. How many minutes are we into this thing, Stu? 13 minutes.
It's like you said, if you're looking at the next step, right? It's like somebody once told me during one of my initial phases of transition. I was a dairy farmer for 15 years, right? Before that, I was a Marine, so I was going to work hard, I was going to break stuff, and I was going to move a lot of manure, right? So how do my skills translate to, you know, the civilian world? Because I was coming from 2 very segmented populations, society. So somebody told me, they gave me the great advice. They said, you know, dress for the job you want versus the job you have. So this applies to a whole lot of things. When you start looking at careers, don't look at the next step. Look at where you want to finish. And then start talking to the people that are there about how they got there. Like, what steps did they take? How did they build that profile and that resume base to get where they are? So if you're looking, you know, like if you're a fan of Animaniacs, which we're all of a certain age, are we familiar with Animaniacs, right? Yeah.
I have no idea what that is. I'm sorry. I'm not even messing with you.
You have to have kids from the early 90s.
So Pinky and the Brain, right?
Cartoon Network.
Every night, Pinky asks Brain, what are we going to do tonight? And Brain says, same thing we do every night, Pinky, try to take over the world. So if your goal is to take over the world, you have to find the person that took over the world and then back plan from there, right? So you're going to start out somewhere and then you're going to work at it every day in some way, shape, or form to get to that point. So if you follow the motto of Pinky and the Brain and you try every night to get where you want to end up, eventually you're going to get there. Now, spoiler alert for those of you that haven't seen Animaniacs, the brain never does take over the world, but he's a mouse, so that's part of the humor in it. And he's just got a really large cranium, which I identify with. But so looking at that progression, right, instead of impaling yourself every day, it's taking those small steps every day and building those habits and stacking those things on top of each other. And, you know, like Chuck said, if you're not thinking about how you're leveraging LinkedIn, the premium version that all veterans get, you know, theoretically for free, to do LinkedIn learning, to get where you want to go, you might say, yeah, Steve, you know, like I want to be this thing, but I don't have time or the bandwidth to take college classes or to do this. Well, LinkedIn Learning provides a lot of pathways in order to do those things. So how are you showing every single day that you're showing up for where you want to be in the future?
So one thing, we got a question on here I'm looking at that Rob put in here. For trades workers, I will stand firm that I believe every single person should have LinkedIn, period. But as far as a requirement goes, there's certain things that I don't think are required in certain trade areas, for example. But I tell you what, if you're out of work right now and you're in the trades and you're trying to get in front of someone that can get you in front of someone, other than this amazing page that we've created here, LinkedIn is absolutely the place where you should be poking around and getting a hold of people. I tell you what, I send out a lot of unsolicited messages on LinkedIn. I'm that guy that sends the real funky one that's like this big versus this big, but I don't put much content in because I got more of a Twitter brain than anything. People will respond to you. Hey, I'm a veteran. I'm looking to get into this career field. Even though right now I'm a trades guy, just a trades guy, right? Just a, that's several videos back. You're not just a, okay. If you're looking to change career fields or whatever, you get a hold of someone like myself. I'm pretty sure Steve's the same way. I know Sue is. And Sarah, I'm going to assume, and Janine, is that how you say your name? I don't know you yet, so I can't speak in your behalf. But most people on LinkedIn are very, very open to having a quick conversation for 15 minutes. And if you want to just simply say, hey, like Steve said, how do I take over the world? I see you're the CEO of Battle Buddies. You must have done something right? That's like an accomplishment. But people will absolutely connect with you on there and spend some time. That's the whole purpose of it. It's not to share cat videos and other stupid shit like on Facebook. If you guys are friends of mine, all you're going to see is silver and Bitcoin comments, right? Right, Sarah? Right, Sue? I mean, and I'm battling with my buddy, my friend Renee, who's finally starting to listen to me. Finally. She realizes how smart I am.
So for those of you that are following along, I put where you can find it in the chat. I put linkedin.com/military. That's how you get your premium. You are allowed 1 year when you're in the transition period. Also, if your spouse is looking, he or she is permitted that year as well. Take advantage of this, just like Chuck said and Steve said. So the basics of LinkedIn, the first time that you set up your profile is free. Make sure that you have put somewhere in your summary what you're looking for and be specific with your ask. And then start to go through and filter people that you already know through your email accounts. Don't link it, but use your email accounts and filter through people that you know, and use your contacts through Twitter and Facebook, and be specific in what you're looking for. And if you're going to take over the world, then make sure you've got a really, really nice profile picture.
Yes, not with your kids. Don't have a fish. Don't have a damn weapon in there. I posted that up. I mean, literally, this guy was a clandestine operator, CIA, but he's in IT now. Karen don't like weapons. I'm just telling you guys, okay? She's not a fan. So another dirty little secret about the military connection on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is great. Even when we get past our 1 year, I'm on like year 8 of free. So if you verify yourself as a vet, LinkedIn is fantastic for vets. They treat us better than they should. We're not entitled to anything with them, but they give to promote this program that they've got. It's amazing. It's what's that run a year? Like probably $150, $200 a year or more?
$30 a month. That's going up to
okay.
35.
Over $300 in value. And here's what I'll do, okay? This sounds like a Billy Mays move. I'm gonna give you guys some OxyClean type of shit, right? If you follow Janine's, am I saying your name right?
You are.
If you follow Janine's advice here right now, this week, and you open up a premium LinkedIn account and you can show me that you followed her directions, I will do a courtesy job scan for you guys. And all you'll owe me is your LinkedIn connection link and 3 jobs you're interested in. And I will send you a report that shows you where your LinkedIn profile needs help, what words should be in there, and a couple of other like trivial things that you wouldn't think should be on there that will increase your likelihood of getting picked up and hit by some idiot like me that's got a recruiter account. I can get your score up to 80. So if you follow this advice, just send me a message. I don't know, Steve, what do you think I should be charging for this service? $800, $1,000, first 2 weeks salary, something like that. I mean, where I'm going with this is to drive the message home, just like putting good comments in here, get you a starter sticker pack. I owe you one, Rob, but John Peterson, hoorah, Marine Corps. No, your questions don't count as sticker candidates tonight, but let me help you. Okay. I've got this job scan premium IO thing or whatever it's called. Costs us a lot of money to run that per year, but I'll do it for free. Absolutely. So seriously, it's probably, if you went to somebody have this done, it'd probably be $300 to $500 to have somebody do this for you. Easily.
So I'll tell you, in Maryland and in Virginia, what you just talked about, a 10-minute or even a 15-minute resume and resume review on a LinkedIn account that talks about those things, just how to do your profile, what you change, your buzzwords, specific keywords, making that headline to 120 words is about $400. You're adding on top of that the ability to actually do a jobscan.co type of buzzword thing. That's an additional $200, and that's going to be less than an hour's worth of work.
There you go. So for no charge, okay? Now, if you guys want to go buy one of these sweet Battle Buddies hats, I'll send you the link. They're like $25, $30 with shipping. I don't make anything on them. It's actually a pain in the ass having them on the site. So I still got some I got to get rid of. Sarah, I still owe you a free one. Sorry. Told you I'd forget. Okay, so I'm sorry, but we've been way off track. So we didn't get into our back end of LinkedIn, but I want to at least get the message out that this is critical in your career advancement. We get a lot of vets that come into the program. They're not happy for whatever reason with their current employer. The boss is messing with them. They got a mean boss. They don't get to spend any time with their family. Their work schedule's funky and they want to have something that's a little more, family time. Income sometimes is a driver. Not always, or I haven't worked, or, I'm ready to work. That happens too. We get a lot of guys that got out of active duty, and it's usually the infantry guys for whatever reason. They spend a lot of time on the ground in combat, and they just want to go and seriously work in the back end of someone's business with a shovel or what those gloves, those yellow gloves, washing dishes. I've seen it countless times, and there's nothing wrong with that. And when those guys are ready to make that next step, this is one of those things that's going to increase the likelihood of somebody finding you and you being more marketable, and you're not a ghost. So other stats that I don't know exactly what it is, but I think it's 75 times more likely to have a response on LinkedIn with a photo. So don't be a ghost. None of you guys, Chuck Norris, one of my buddies, he's a badass SEAL. If there's a guy who should not be able to be found by ISIS, he's that guy. He's on LinkedIn with the photo. No one's there in this group. No one. He was in 3 SEAL teams for 23 years. So don't want to hear your excuse why you don't have a photo. Steve, I cut you off. You were going to say something.
Oh, I was. And also, one of the reasons we're all here is to help others ultimately connect with better careers, employment, offer resources and value. So the thing to remember that your network is only as good as the connections you ask it. So if you have 2,000 connections on LinkedIn, but you aren't helping someone else connect with them, if you're not adding value to other conversations as well and saying, hey, do you know what, like I had a conversation with somebody, I don't know, it was a couple of weeks ago, and I said, I know a guy that is looking to hire some folks in IT, and it happened to be Chuck. And he's like, oh, I don't know him. So I sent him to Chuck and said, hey, and then from that conversation, it went to somebody else, but it wasn't about me necessarily taking the credit for it or doing that. It was just about building that value in the network, right? So leveraging my connections to help you make better connections that's what LinkedIn and Battle Buddies is, honestly. That's what it's all about, right? And that's what we try to do every day. So if you're not asking your network for that help, if you're not pinging them, you just have a whole bunch of numbers that say you're connected.
So Steve, I want to give you credit here on something that you actually changed in my personal life. I've talked about it on here too.
Chuck, I'm really sorry to hear about the second divorce. The advice usually, well, whatever, you know, I didn't see your service stripes, so I can't tell.
Combat goes on the right sleeve on Army uniforms.
So what did I do that was good?
So no, you actually, you know, it's one of those things that happens like casually, you might say to not realize that it was like a game changer thing. So you know your little trick on the go back through your text message thing?
Yeah.
Throw that out there for these guys. I did it. I spoke about it. And this actually uncovered my sleeping network. So go ahead. I'm not going to steal your thunder. It was excellent. I loved it.
So I appreciate it. So one of the things that we often do is we make connections with folks, and then that connection goes away. So go back in your phone and go to your last text message you sent, all the way down in the bottom of messages, and just shoot them a quick, hey, how you doing? Hope everything's well.
Been a while.
We made it to 2021. Would love to catch up, right? And then do 4 or 5 of those every day. So you wake up in the morning, you put 15 minutes in your calendar, and you can do it in your email inbox, you can do it in your text messages, you can do it on your LinkedIn profile, whatever it is, but just do, you know, hit up 5 people a day and say, hey, just wanted to connect, you know, like see how everything's going, hope all is well, Steve, right? And you'd be surprised at the people that are going to say, hey, yeah, it's been a while. And just it strengthens that network. So now it's, you know, I have this person in my phone that I've never talked to. Now you're not asking for anything, right? You're just checking in on them, see how it's going. And, you know, sometimes they're a battle buddy, right? That is like, oh, I'm so glad you reached out to me. But it really refreshes that network. And you realize that these people that you know actually want to hear from you, and especially during the quarantine time.
So, and here's something else on LinkedIn that you can do. So go get yourself one of those Calendly accounts, and you can send the people in your LinkedIn message a message that sets 15 minutes aside in your calendar where they can get access straight up to your calendar. And I'll show you. Maybe you can see it. I'll show you what this kind of stuff has done for my calendar personally. So every one of those little dots right there is a meeting. Those are all at least 15 minutes. So when I reach out to people, I send them a link, and I've got a thing in the recruiter account for 15 minutes. If they'll respond to me, the least I can do is talk to them on the phone, write some notes. I write a lot of notes in my books. I go through 2 of these a week, just to give you an idea. And I have a little file that I have on all of these people. So your LinkedIn network, and what the Steve thing, what he talked about with the 5 texting things, I did it. It was crazy. I started that right after Thanksgiving. And my whole day was taken up by talking to people on the phone. So, it's kind of a easy time of the year to catch up with people, but you'd be surprised. Just make sure that you don't accidentally text an old girlfriend that you erased her name. So if you have to refresh what the last few, so you don't know what I'm talking about, but make sure that you're not like opening Pandora's box on this stuff a little bit. But no, those are great ways to stay connected to people. All right. Sarah, words of wisdom that you can share with the group tonight as we, Sue, you haven't been yelling. 2 minutes.
As we go over. No, sometimes I think it's good just to, kind of really dial into some of this stuff, talking about what it means to be a recruiter, what people are looking for, and then what kind of stuff is out there. It's good, just tips and tricks of what people are looking for.
Sue.
I took Janine's link for military LinkedIn and added it into our Facebook feed. All I want to say is even if you're not going to use LinkedIn to maybe change your career, further your career, make those connections, with the military version, there's a lot of classes, a lot of training that's out there, and some of it is absolutely fabulous. If nothing else, go out and see what they offer. Maybe something will strike your fancy that you want to learn something new.
If you're sitting around home doing nothing, gives you a task, right? I mean, Christmas time was slow for me. I got all these certifications in Salesforce.com. I mean, you can sit around and watch Jenny Jones or Montel Williams or whatever the hell. Is Jerry Springer still on? Watch Jerry Springer and shit, sitting, I don't know. You can do that, or you can add value to your life. I mean, somebody's going to find those skills marketable and want those.
And
can't
for
sit
those
around
folks
waiting for the world to come and
that
get
are
you
out
guys.
there that their goal is to just to get up out of bed and take a shower. Maybe someday you make that one of your goals, is to, in addition to taking the shower, is that you find something that interests you on LinkedIn Premium.
Taking over the world, I guarantee it includes having a damn LinkedIn profile. Janine?
Yeah.
Words of wisdom for these people tonight.
So my words of wisdom, as you are going through your job search, or you're trying to decide which area you want to go into, really take a smart look at yourself and look at your work values, your interests, and the skills that you offer. Because looking for a new job and trying to get on a path, those have to align: your work values, your interests, and the skills that you offer. Because if you know what you're worth, then you'll be able to help the company figure out how they can pay you based on those 3 things. And in any organization, they want to make sure that their work values align with yours and that interests align as well. And those skills are super important. So make sure you're taking a look at those 3 pieces. Those are my words.
Steve, you get the parting words, man.
Oh, the final words.
It's Jerry's final thoughts, right?
Just remember that just because we're sitting here and we're offering our advice, it doesn't mean that we might have more experience in this realm, but it doesn't mean that your advice to others is invaluable too. And if you see somebody on Battle Buddies, like we started out this conversation talking about how somebody posted about divorce, right? Like everybody is dealing with their own ish. So whether it's a recruiter or whether it's somebody applying, like pause, be kind, and think about what that is for them to deal with it, and then to have to post it. So before you blow up their feet about suck it up and stop being a whatever, just think about what it took for them to share with total strangers this thing about their life, and then maybe hit them up with a private message and say, hey brother, thinking about you, or you can get through this, or if you want to talk, or better yet, just don't say anything at all if you're going to be an a-hole. Just think of the other people, but also this same applies. We all have those specific experiences that we can leverage to help others, right? So don't be afraid to say, hey, I've been there. This is what I know, and share that, because one of the things that service has taught us is we never stop serving. So let's continue to offer that value to our brothers and sisters that have served and those that support us.
Great place in it. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Janine, for showing up. My sidekicks, Sue and Sarah, as always, appreciate you guys being here too. So see you later, battle buddies.